In this video, we'll be taking a look at the OBS 27.2 beta that was released at the end of last year. We're going to take a look at some of the new features, as well as a few possible bugs that I'm seeing. Welcome back everyone, this is Vash. So the biggest change for Linux users is the official introduction of Flatpak support. For the most part, this has been pretty seamless, but I did want to touch on that plugins now have to go in home.var app com OBS project studio config OBS studio. And I actually did have to create the plugins directory here, but that is where your plugins will probably need to go. I have not seen anything on if your plugin has a dock. I found one that I was considering using that actually had a dock as well that was included with it. And that goes in a different folder than necessarily just your plugins folder. So I'm kind of unsure exactly where that goes. But that being said, I have had a weird issue or two, but I think some of them may be limited to me. But I'm going to go over those later. But first, I wanted to focus on some of the other things that I could actually show you. 27.2 has quite a number of updates, but some of them are just laying groundwork for the future, or they're focusing on things that maybe I necessarily don't have hardware-wise or something like that. So a nice plus for the introduction to Flatpak is that Linux distros will now have a more consistent OBS experience. Previously, with the Arch Linux repository builds, I did not have the option to do a browser dock. So ultimately, this is the YouTube live chat. I'm going to be doing some gaming live streams over on my gaming channel. I'll include a link to that in the description. But it's just really nice to be able to have these and be able to create custom browser docks if I want to. And that was something previously I had to go into the AUR or build out myself or something like that. It was not something that was available in the standard Arch repositories for OBS. So one of the changes that is easy to show you is a bit of a minor change, but it is a nice quality of life change. And that is in Settings, Hotkeys. There is now a filter to search for an action or to search by hotkey. So this list is quite long. And ultimately, that's really nice to be able to do so. It also added the ability to detect any duplicate hotkeys here. So that's another nice little feature. There is a change for Wayland that is going to allow hotkey support in the future, but it's not quite finished yet. It's just laying the groundwork for that. Another new feature I can show you is source blending. So if I right-click this source, I go to blending mode, and I click additive, you'll notice I see the screen that's below this one, which if you'll look here is just a screen of looking at the OBS updates. So now they're blending and additive, and now I'll change to one more and go subtract. These are all similar to the blending modes in Photoshop. So if you're familiar with those, these should be something that you can easily incorporate into your workflow. So here's a full list of features in the 27.2 beta. I'm just going to go through some of the ones that I can't really show you. So like the Aja source and devices, or maybe it's AJA, I'm not sure. But I'm going to bring up a picture of the AJA Kona here. It's ultimately, a professional level device, as you can tell with the price. We talked about blend modes, and then AOM AV1 and SVT AV1, those are both CPU encoders for the video. So for those that maybe have a really high-end CPU and not as great of a GPU, this could be an option for them in the future. Last I looked in my research, SVT was the one people were excited about, but it was really more the Intel side. I think it should work well on the AMD side as well, but it's not something where ultimately it was necessarily designed with that in mind. Another nice addition that I've seen people asking for in my research was this hotkey to refresh a browser source. So that is something that is kind of nice. And then we talked about the filter and the duplicate detection. And then there's also, so they added a warning dialog when switching profiles. They added a show active outputs warning on exit. So if you're trying to record something or stream something and you try to exit the program, you'll see a warning there first. So the RIST protocol, I looked up a little bit about this. This is a new streaming protocol they're looking to get into in the future. And right now, I don't really think any websites support it that I know of. Most of the websites out there will use something like RTMP. But this is to try to bring that more current, because the RTMP has been around quite a while now. So I wanted to round this out with just a few potential hangups that I'm seeing right now. And that is, so if I go to transition here and I hit add swipe, it's going to ask me for a name. If I click OK, it's going to crash. So I'm not going to do that right now, but I have submitted a bug report to see if maybe that's a bug on other people's systems. But I also will see the same thing if I go here and right click and do show transition or hide transition and pick anything beyond cut and fade. If I do swipe or slide, I think what ultimately it's trying to happen is it's trying to bring up that add dialog box, or maybe it's trying to do something like that, and that's where it's kind of crashing there too. But I have noted, like I say, I have submitted a bug report for that, so hopefully they will get to that. The other real strange thing, and this one I have no explanation for. If I go to File, Show Recordings, normally this should bring up a folder, but let me show you what it brought up on my other monitor. You'll get a kick out of this. This is what it brought up. It brought up my VS Code, or VS Codium in this case. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It does the same thing for Show Settings folder and Show Profile folder. I have looked at, I did submit a bug report about that, but I was told that that was something configuration-wise on my end. I've done a little bit of digging, and one of the suggestions was to look at the mime.list folder in home.config, and I checked that out. I did not see any mention of VS Code or VS Codium, either one there, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. It's a very strange issue. But I am hopeful that maybe there's something weird that's happening in the file selection process or the Explorer selection process, and that we can figure that out. And that'll complete our look at the OBS 27.2 beta. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.